Good morning, school. Are you a dark tourist? Many of us will have been tourists this summer, venturing all over the world. But how many of us were dark tourists? Many of you may have been one without even knowing. Dark tourism is also known as black tourism and is defined as tourism involving places historically associated with death and tragedy. Can you think of anywhere you visited that would fulfill this definition? Many of the images shown may not be a great surprise. Auschwitz concentration camp, Ground Zero in New York City, or the Colosseum in Rome. But would others be more surprising? Pompeii, or the site of the Battle of Hastings, the World War I war graves, or even the Slavery Museum in Liverpool. Are these not just archaeological sites or sites of remembrance? In fact, they are both. So have you been, or are you, a dark tourist? It is believed that there are over 1,000 dark tourist sites across the world. Some so dark it is advised not to visit them. For example, Chernobyl, which is the site of Russia's nuclear explosion, as this is still highly radioactive. Whilst it is advised also not to visit Seveso in Italy, which witnessed Europe's worst chemical explosion, as there is simply nothing left to visit. During the summer, Mrs. Ames and I visited sites classed as dark tourist locations. Mrs. Ames visited Oradour-sur-Glane, sorry for my pronunciation, which is in France. Oradour is a memorial site to 643 women, children and non-combatants who were massacred by a Waffen-SS battalion on the 10th of June 1943. The people of Oradour had done nothing wrong but be in the wrong place at the wrong time. The entire village, excluding one woman and 5 men, were murdered in a reprisal attack following the capture of one SS officer by French resistance fighters in the Limousin area. Several days later, a number of survivors returned to the village to bury their dead. The site today stands as a memorial and is very much as if time stood still 70 years ago, with cars being parked up on driveways and sewing machines left on windowsills. The site is now known as the Martyr Village, and it certainly fulfills the concept of dark tourism. I visited what many of you may have seen in films or visited whilst in Venice, not realising it was in fact a dark tourist site. The Bridge of Sighs connected the new prison with the interrogation rooms in the Doge's Palace. So called the Bridge of Sighs by Lord Byron in the 19th century to describe how prisoners would sigh at their final view of the beautiful city of Venice before being taken down to their cells for the remainder of their lives. Why do people visit dark tourist sites? Many visit places like the battlefields in France as a memorial, to remember the soldiers who gave their lives for the freedom of others. Other people visit the dark sites because they are interested in the darker side of history, while some see it as a method of conserving culture and heritage. Whatever the reason, the importance of dark tourism is certainly growing, with more visiting such sites than ever before, and allowing conversations to open up about more controversial aspects of the past. So, are you a dark tourist? Have you been to any sites that would class as one? You may wish to discuss this further with your form tutor, or even visit the Dark Tourist website listed below. Thank you for listening, school.